Ladies and gentlemen, mashallah, we've got the man himself calling in from the Saluki is live with us. Welcome to the show. Thanks for calling in.
I just wanted to tell you something. You guys can hear me and see me, right?
Yep, I can see it perfect.
When you started talking about Israel and saying, you're Rasbara and everything, then I thought, like, wow, he went from being American Jew visits Nablus, Palestine, to like talking about all these talking points and this and that. And I thought, like, damn, he's selling out. He's trying to get clout. He's trying to get money. But over time, then it seems that I came to think like, okay, as I met you in real life afterwards. I think I only met you after you started doing these. I don't know what's a polite way to put it, but Aspara
You
videos.
can call it propaganda.
After you started defending Israel online. Uh, okay, whatever. Then, like it's. But I don't want to diss you. Like I want to be
You
respectful
can
with
you
you.
can go for it, bro.
But
Don't even worry
yeah,
about it.
like when you started the fine, okay, when you started talking about Israel all the time, then I thought like, he's maybe he's fishing, like for clout or whatever. But then like I met you in real life and I saw that you were. It seems like you're genuine and you really like this is what you think. And wait, I'm trying to open up the stream so I can see the comments and stuff. And anyway, okay. What was I saying? Yeah, I thought like, okay, this is what he really thinks, and that's fine. And as I explained, like on my story or when I replied to your comment, which I deleted, it's also like it's also what I've been thinking all the time, and I didn't want to expose my political opinions because I wanted to be neutral because first of all, that's kind of what's expected to you as a journalist, but or at least an aspiring journalist. I never study journalism or anything, but I do journalistic work. And yeah, like that's why I was neutral. But over time, then I came to realize that people that I can't really be neutral because people see through my bias. Like people, um, like you can tell what the person thinks. Like you can tell what the journalist thinks. At the end of the day, nobody can be 100% neutral. And also because I started writing a book, and I realized that also I can't do that and be neutral. Like I can't talk about my opinion. The book is called like Behind Enemy Lines: My Travels in Deepest Palestine as an Israeli Jew, something like that. But I just realized I can't keep doing this and be 100% neutral. And yeah, that's why I gave it up. It's not because like suddenly I'm trying to get clout by saying my opinions about Palestine and Israel. It's not that I'm trying to be favorable to the Palestinian palate. It's just what I think, and I started expressing it. And also because I started I rap too, but I've got a meeting next week with the biggest producer in Palestine, someone who worked with Tamer Nafar, Shab Jadid, all these. I don't know if you know these guys, but I'm gonna start writing music too, and that's another thing that is quite hard to do without expressing opinions. I gave up on the whole neutral shtick, and that's it. Like that's it's not like I've changed my mind. It's not like I'm looking for clout or whatever. See, people are saying in the comments, "Oh, he was neutral." Like, yeah, it was pretty clear I wasn't exactly neutral.
I don't I without giving the entire context, because we're at the end of the stream and I don't really have time to give the entire context of this is YouTube and not Instagram, so I'm not sure if even people were following that I called you out today on Instagram. I don't believe in what you're saying right now. To me, I don't trust what you're saying is the truth. I don't want to. It's hard for me to now give the entire perspective because you were able to give your perspective, but I genuinely don't have enough time to explain everything. And there's also things that I think is just not appropriate for this live stream to talk about, things that happen behind the scenes between you and I, that I don't want to start bringing up. But I'm calling your bluff, and I don't believe you. I don't trust that you are genuine in this cause. And if you are genuine, I think you're really not intelligent on the subject. I don't think you have the facts. And I really, more so than anything, I want to call you out on the fact that you don't want to have a conversation about it. I think it's stupid. I think it's lame. I think it's loser energy. I think it's very, very small mentality. Because if you're coming out, for example, for people who don't know, today Saluki made a video calling out Israeli travelers And then the end of the video started getting into territory of inflammatory rhetoric about how we're an apartheid state and the reason why we think we're so supremacist or something along the lines of, I can't remember exactly what you said, that we have a supremacist ideology because we're raised with this perspective of being supremacists. That is literally pinpoint opposite of exactly what's going on in this region. And it's the biggest bullshit I've ever heard in my life. And while you and I are both world travelers, we can both acknowledge there's a problem with Israeli travelers. Everybody can acknowledge that. There's an issue. The way that you're talking about it is you are literally taking Qatar and IRGC propaganda and you're using your body as a vessel to continue pushing their propaganda. And if you look at the Palestinian perspective in a microscope, you're only putting it on a microscope. You're putting it on a petri dish and saying, I'm only going to look at the Palestinians and not look at anybody else in the region or what's been going on for the last 1,000 years here. That's some bullshit. And that's something I'm going to call your ass out on, and I'll keep on doing it time and time again. It's bullshit, and it's fake. And it comes off as disingenuous. And the biggest thing I disrespect you for with that, and I say this as a friend who loves you. I know we're not that close, and we don't know each other that close, but you know I'm a huge fan of your videos. I'm a huge fan of your ego, of your content. I love who you are. I really believe in you, and I've told you this as well. I really believe in you, and you know how much I believe in you. When I see you bullshitting, I'm going to call you out on that. And I think that this is utter bullshit. You're choosing to look like the same way that this Emma girl who you were hanging out with, you know, she contacted me before she came here. And I was giving her advice in whether she should come into the airport or not. No idea what she was going to do when she was here. She was here for like 3 months documenting the atrocities in Palestine. And all of a sudden took this perspective. I'm like, this bitch has no idea about this region. She's obsessed with making poverty porn war content so she can make money on YouTube. It's disingenuous. You don't care about the history. You don't care about what happened here. You don't care about how we got here. And the biggest thing I disrespect you about, I got a little bit caught up with what I was saying, is that you don't want to talk about it. The non-debating shit is bullshit. And I really don't believe in that. If you're going to come out and have a bias and you're going to make content about it that's going to get millions of views, you should have a conversation with me about it. And you should have conversations with other people about it. I'm open to having conversations with your friends about it too. I'm dying to have a conversation with that Andre journalist about stuff. But he'll never talk to me. He's never answered a single DM of mine. So that's my perspective. I think it's utter bullshit that you don't want to talk about it.
No, he does. Don't take it personally. He just doesn't open DMs. He doesn't open DMs. It's not.
I mean,
he gets. You, I, him. We get maybe 10 DMs an hour. So
fair. I'm not fair is fair. I hear
don't
that.
want to debate because it's not my thing. Like, I'm not a political streamer. I'm
sorry, it's a little delayed. Sorry about that.
Because I'm not a debater, political streamer. I'm leaving that shit to Norman Finkelstein. What the fuck is his name? To Benny Morris, to Norman Finkelstein, to Hassan Abi, to Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, but you're.
Tal, where is your hair peeking out from the couch?
What happened?
Somebody wants to see your chest hair.
Where is your hair peeking
comments.
out from top shirts? This Jim Bry's one upping. I'm getting skinny now. I have braces, guys. I'm barely eating. I only eat twice a day. I'm gonna be real skinny soon. There was I don't know where she's from. This Arab girl, I think, in my DMs today, saying that the only reason I'm calling out Saluki is because I'm jealous of his looks. So I started gaslighting her the entire time. I was like, you're so true. I've been jealous of my Iraqi brother this whole time. I just want to look as good as him. I'm gonna start working out now. I'm trying to get as buff as him. I want a 6-pack. Listen, I got to end this live stream because I got to go to my Patreon call, but I do appreciate you coming on and taking this live face-to-face. I really do wish that you would consider actually having a debate, even though I also respect that you don't want to. I think it's important, especially if you're going to put out like bullshit ideas like Israelis are supremacists and we live in a supremacist society, when it's the exact opposite of what's going on. I think it's important to have those ideas countered. But I appreciate you calling in, bro, if you want to say anything towards the end.
Oh, okay, let's just talk about that one thing, yeah?
Okay.
Let's this. But I left here when I was 5 years old and came here when I was 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of grew up here, like maybe, okay, I spent a couple of years traveling, but I spent here most of my life. And when I came from South Africa at 10 years old, I was shocked because and I wrote about this in my book. We had an Arabic class, and the whole class, this was in Nahariya, mind you, not in a settlement, not in a normal Israeli city. The whole class chanted death to Arabs when the Arabic teacher left the class. And back then already, I realized like something is wrong with the society. Children are taught to be supremacists. Children are taught that they're better than the Arabs. They're chanting death to Arabs when they're 10 years old. Like, where do they get this from? They obviously get it from their parents. They all so like I think growing up around Israelis really kind of taught me things that you wouldn't see when you come here, like when you came here like 2 3 years ago to live here. You know, you grew up in a civilized society in New York where you actually greet your teachers and talk to them with respect, instead of Israel where you shout their names out in the class and you throw papers around and
So
shit.
I've had a conversation with you about this before. I really don't appreciate the trying to discount my experience. I don't think it's right. First of all, I didn't grow up in New York. I grew up in Miami in a very Israeli community, which was mostly a Mizrahi Jewish community. I grew up speaking Hebrew, eating Israeli food. The first 5 years of my life, I was mostly in Israel. When I went to school, we did make Aliyah at a certain point. When I was like 9 and I lived here for 3 years, I went to school here. I had Arabic class in school. You know, I did live here, and my whole entire life I've had a connection to this place. I lived in Rishon LeZion with a bunch of Alsim when I lived
What
here
was
as
your
well.
experience coming?
I hated living here. I talk about it honestly. I hated living here when I was a kid. I thought society was it was very hard for me to ease into being an Israeli kid. It was very difficult for me. We also lived in Rishon LeZion. We lived in a very like Alsi place, you know, it was very like Mizrahi Jewish, shchuna kazeh. The shit that Amir Chetzroni, that I've seen some of his content, the shit that he actually, I think it's ironic that he says, but that stereotype that he pushes about Mizrahi kids being uncivilized animals, that was kind of the stereotype I lived amongst when I was here as a kid. I got bullied so hard in school here when I was a kid. I had kids who would take cigarettes and turn them off on my shirt. That's how hard I got bullied when I lived here as a kid. It didn't make me turn around and say that,
Did you what? I'm sorry.
like a kid, I'm Chaber Sigalia. There was a kid that used to turn a cigarette off on my shirt. Like he would make holes in my shirt. He would bully
Yeah.
me. It didn't make me turn around and say that we live in a supremacist society, though, because I grew up around the Abu Lafia family. I grew up around a family, one of the richest Arab families in this country, who are close personal friends that I've made many videos in the past. And I grew up learning from him. Those are my first Arab friends. You know, his son Muhammad, that I've made videos with in the past, was a close friend of mine growing up. And I actually grew up with this idea of having coexistence my entire life. And in my family's home, we've had Arabs coming in and out of it. I have a cousin who's married to an Arab who ended up living in a Bedouin Arab settlement, or a Bedouin Arab non-recognized settlement. So you have a different experience than what I have. But and you've talked to me about this in person, your one negative experience, or maybe you've had multiple since then, has rubbed you so wrong the entire way that you look at the entire country as supremacist, when in reality, the history of this region tells a completely different story. We're actually living in a society that is trying to coexist. 70% of us identify as Arab Jews, whatever the fuck that even means. And I'm more lenient with my definition of that anyways nowadays, because I understand I can't be an extremist about it. Be like, we're not all Arab Jews. There are some people who fall in that binary of an Arab Jew. But you have 70% of this country that identify as that. Who are you to say that we're supremacist? This shit's a fucking tribal warfare. Are you kidding me? As if Palestinians for one moment are not the most supremacist. And you know that. Akhi, I know exactly how the ones in Jaffa talk about the ones in Jerusalem. They hate each other. That's why there's fucking gunfights every night in Jaffa. I woke up to that shit. I was living in Jaffa for 3 months in the summer. Every night without fail. It's not just gang wars. It's a supremacist mentality. Look at the Middle East. You talk to one Arab country, they don't recognize the next one as an Arab because he's not Arab enough. And that's the whole case of the Middle East. So and again, I really have to end this already. I really think you need to check yourself, bro. And I'd love to have an expanded debate with you on this because I think we could get to some great conclusions together. I think we could actually get to a good conversation. I respect if you really don't want to, but I think it could be good.
I don't know, man. I don't think you're gonna budge on anything
I'll budge.
that I say, and
I will budge.
really take into. I don't think you're really gonna take into consideration anything like that.
I will budge and I will concede. When I'm wrong, I will concede. I'm the first person who's able to do that. I pride myself on that. I don't have an ego with this shit. My ego doesn't exist. I will concede a point if I am wrong, and you prove it to me outright that I'm wrong. I will concede that point. But the thing is, I did the work, akhi. Maybe I don't have as much experience as you inside of all these cities in the West Bank. But I went and I did my homework. I followed in your footsteps. You inspired me and I went and did it. And I learned when I was there on the ground. It was a few hours. In some places it was a few days. But I went to learn. I wanted to understand. I wanted to see. I have some stuff that's not on camera too that I can't necessarily talk about out in the open. But I went and experienced and I saw. And I have friends who are living there. I have friends who are seeing this stuff. Your presentation... And I see you going into this very dark zone. Your presentation of the conflict and the way you're trying to demonize Israelis and demonize, maybe you're not doing it to Jews, but it will demonize Jewish people inadvertently. It's really fucked up. It's really fucked up. And I would never do that to Palestinians.
The problem is that, you kind of are. You kind of are denying their whole existence. You say that their identity was invented in 1962.
I don't say that. I don't say that.
I don't think it's me demonizing the Jews.
I never say that. I always say that Palestinian identity exists today. Its history is messy as fuck, and everybody knows that. That's clear cut. You can't argue that. Its history of when this identity became an identity is very unclear. It's very unclear. Are they Canaanites? Are they Philistines? Are they Phoenicians? Are they Israelites? You give them the Israelite identity, they don't want it. You give them Canaanites, they say no. Those were fucking child sacrifices. We're the Arabs, but they're not the Arabs. And genetically, we can both agree these people are probably Jews. So I'm with you. I don't deny their existence. I love them. I love them dearly. I really do. But and I agree that their existence is here. I'm not saying they're a made up identity. They exist today as a nationality. You can't deny that. But when it started, it's a different story, man.
The thing like that I see as the most counterproductive towards Jews and what causes the most anti-Semitism is that Israel is committing these war crimes, is committing genocide in the name of the Jewish people. They say this is the Jewish state, and then they go and do this and that, and that's what is so counterproductive and what is causing anti-Semitism to be rampant because they're doing it in the name of the Jewish people.
Well, when you say it, I don't even believe you. You don't even look like you're confident when you're saying it. Genuinely, akhi. It doesn't sound. I'm calling you on your shit because
I don't believe you.
It doesn't feel like what you're saying is. You don't even seem like you're convinced of what you're saying. You know that there's not a genocide going on. You know there's not a genocide going on.
As I said, this is gonna take hours, and you're not gonna budge. I know what you think, and I've heard your talking points about how it's not a genocide. I know what you're gonna say. I know that also many scholars agree that it is a genocide, and it has been ruled as a genocide. And that's why I don't want to debate. I think it's pointless.
We should debate. I agree we can't do it right now, but we should definitely debate.
And I'm not a debater or a political.
You are now.
I'm not a debater or a
Habibi, you are now. You made a stance today condemning Zionists and saying that we're a supremacist nation. Whether you like it or not, you're on my hit list with this shit. You walked into it. You are here. Whether or not you want to have a debate, that's on you. But you did it. You decided to pass that. You said it yourself. You were trying to be neutral, wanted to be neutral. You went into the other side. Now you just come off as a bit of a puss because you don't actually want to talk about it. You're like, I just want to say my piece and I want to walk away and write my book. That's not cool, bro. This is what I told you in text. It's beta energy. It's not.
No, it's just better. It's not my niche to debate people, and I don't want to. I don't want to take that career path and start making videos like you, where low effort reacting to other people's content.
It doesn't have to be low effort. You don't have to make reaction videos. I found something that works for my niche. It doesn't mean that you need to shift your entire perspective into. There's many people who don't make reaction videos who debate.
I know you're making money. I know it seems like you actually believe in what you're saying. So if it feels virtuous to you, then great. But I don't know. That's not what I would do.
Again, nobody ever for a second said that that's what you need to do. But you are taking a stance into the political sphere. Whether you like it or not, you did it today. You made a hit piece on Israeli people. You made a hit piece on Zionist. You stepped into that zone, not me. I've been in it. You decided to make that piece. You know, it's again. Anyways, this is a long discussion. We could have this forever back and forth. We should have it. I still hold the fact that we should do it. But anyways, man, I still very much appreciate you, and I love you as a friend, and I wish the best for you always. And that's it, man.
Yeah, likewise.
Likewise. All right, brother. Yada, thanks for calling in. We'll talk to you later.
I hope you enjoy the Hasbaramani. No, I'm joking.
Thanks, bro. Yada, bye. If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.